Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney, and on this channel, we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answers they need from an employment attorney. We have a question from YouTube user Tanya. I fear that Tanya may have used her entire real name, so I'm not going to read the rest of her username because I don't want that to go into the algorithm of the YouTube and the Google, and people will be able to find things out about her later on as they fight with her about her case. So I'm going to read her question now. Hello, Mr. White. Hello, Tanya. Is it true that winning the case would always depend upon the composition of the jury? I spoke with an attorney regarding my discrimination case, and he told me that my chance of winning is slim because of the county I am in, where most members of the jury would potentially be Republican. I thought winning would also depend on how good the trial lawyer is. What can you say on this topic? Okay. So first and foremost, jury selection is part of what makes a good trial attorney. There are trial attorneys whose chief skill could be regarded as jury selection. And I'm going to get into why. So there's TV shows, there's movies about sophisticated, built-out systems where you have arrays of monitors and TVs on the wall, and there's video cameras on each and every juror, and you have 30 researchers measuring biometric data of a potential jury pool and running background checks on each and every one, finding leverage that they can use against them. And all of this is fiction. All of this is nonsense. Could someone put a camera on a juror and find out what their blood pressure is? I guess, hypothetically. I mean, Apple does it with the Apple Watch. I guess it could be done. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, nor a scientist, nor a technologist. But I'll tell you this. It's very unlikely that you're doing it in a federal courtroom during jury selection, because I think someone would notice your cameras. And the idea that you're running real-time background checks on jurors who randomly got tossed into the box, I mean, not a box, the jury box. They're not monsters. But these people get randomly thrown into the jury box, and you just have researchers on the fly running background checks for everyone who showed up for jury selection on that given day. Call me skeptical, but I have doubts, right? All this is nonsense. The reality of jury selection is this. Some human beings are better at looking at other human beings and having very, very short conversation with them and reading that human being. That is an incredibly rare skill, but a real one. It does exist. I have met these people. And those people pick amazing juries. And amazing juries raise the likelihood that your case will win significantly. And if your case wins, amazing juries raise the dollar figure likely to be attached to that win. Right? But jury selection is not a science. We are not there yet. Jury selection is an art. It is an art that lives in the instinctual nature of certain people's brains, where they observe so many things using both their conscious and subconscious minds about other human beings, and then make semi-informed judgment calls about other human beings based on limited interactions. Yeah, what I'm describing sounds difficult and hard. Well, there's the same thing. But you kind of get what I'm saying here, right? Like, jury selection matters. There's no guarantees. I'll tell you a quick story. I think I've shared a story on the channel before. Early in my career, I picked a jury, and there was a gentleman. It was a race discrimination case. Gentleman, handlebar mustaches. And I learned that he had been a state trooper in the state that he worked in. And he was retired. He was an older gentleman. He was from a rural county, a county I knew to be rural. And that was about all I knew about him. I knew I had a race case, and I had a Caucasian state trooper from a rural county. I had a certain number of bans to get rid of jurors without explaining myself, and I rapidly used a ban on that individual because I did not think that a retired police officer from a rural county with handlebar mustaches was the ideal juror for my case, and I happen to know that officers have a tendency to be trained to use leadership-based methods of communication, and I feared he could become a leader in my jury box, and he might be predisposed against my client. I'm not saying he was racist. I'm saying I had fears that he might not be the ideal juror for my case and my client. That case went on to do quite well, but I will share this with you. Later that day, in the lunchroom, that juror approached me. He was no longer a juror on my case because I had banned him, so he felt he could speak to me. Fair enough. He said, "Hey, I really believe in your client." Pardon me? Picking up my little Sammy, my sandwich. Like, what? What, sir? What did you say? He's like, "Yeah, I really believe in your client. I heard a little bit about your case, and I really believe in your client, and I really hope you win." He didn't know that I banned him. What did I do? I judged someone based on inadequate information, and I got it wrong. Would my client have won more money if I left that juror on there? Maybe. My client did okay. My client won quite well. But could it have been better? Maybe. We don't know. We can't see the future. But you see what I'm saying here, right? Like, jury selection is so uncertain. So for this trial attorney to say to you that the fact that people are Republican necessarily means they're not going to be a good jury for you, well, let's face it, I don't know anything about your case. I don't know anything about your case, right? And that might be true. I mean, there's certainly protected classes that I think might be at odds with certain Republican talking points right now. There might be. There's also protected classes that tend to get treated potentially better in Republican communities. So I don't know that I fully agree with the trial attorney who says your jury pool is Republican, therefore bad jury pool for you. I don't know what your claim is. I don't know what happened in your case. I don't know how you present. I don't know anything about the situation, but I do know that seemed a little bit simplified, right? The world is changing. Republicans are not all white people anymore, if they ever were. And I'm not, certainly, myself a Republican, nor am I a Democrat. But as I understand it, one of the things that's going on in the South is that many people who view themselves to be of Latin descent are becoming Republicans. So I don't know what that means, except that these are complex terms used as catch-alls because people like to fight with the other, right? I'm a conservative. I'm a liberal. We hate each other. These concepts are for TV and the internet. I don't know how much they play into interpersonal interactions in real life, right? This is how we sell CNN views and Fox News views. I don't know if human beings actually would make a decision based on that, right? Like I guess I'll pose you a question, right? Young single mother brings a pregnancy discrimination and familial status discrimination case against her employer. Do you feel confident in saying that a Republican juror is worse for that plaintiff than a Democrat? I don't know that I do. Not sure at all. Now, counterpoint. If we have gender identity as a claim, well, I'm very disappointed in the conservatives of the world right now because they seem to be taking a real issue with protecting gender identity as a protected class. And yeah, I would probably be very concerned about bringing that particular claim in a Republican county. I'd do everything I could to get that claim out of that county. I'd look at options like federal court. I'd look at options like, where is the employer housed? Where's their main base? Can I bring this in another jurisdiction? There's a lot of things I might do in that situation because I don't know how much the Republican base believes in these talking points, but it seems like Republican politicians talk about this a lot and in very concerning and hateful ways, right? I can only call it like I see it. I don't know what lives in these people's hearts and minds, but I know I'm concerned about what I'm hearing, right? So I've gone very long here, but the answer is, listen, jury selection matters. And it's incredibly complex. And just saying Republicans are a bad jury pool for you, I don't know what that means, and I don't know why that attorney is saying that, because they don't know what your claim is, and I don't know anything about you or the claim or where you are. But the world where Republicans were business owners and Democrats were employees has long since passed. That world is not in existence anymore. Republicans are often working class, blue-collar folk now, and Democrats tend to be coastal elites. That is also very overly simplified and reductive, right? These statements lack value because of how desperately generalized they are. And I make them not because I believe them necessarily to be true, but to say that, listen, trends are changing. The world's complex. I don't know if we can just say, Republican County, don't file that case. Not valuable. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Depending on the details. As we noted, there are certain protected classes where I have concerns, right? So, Tanya, I hope this is helpful. I hope this is, and listen, I know I didn't give you answers here. I'm trying to have a conversation about this to kind of demonstrate how I'm thinking about it, because this is something we think about a lot. We bring cases all over the country, right? We're doing workplace discrimination and workplace sexual harassment in all 50 states. And sometimes that involves litigating in places where we worry about how our client and our protected class and our claim will be viewed by the local population, by the juror. And we look at, well, what can we do? Can we bring it somewhere else? How can we go about jury selection to make this have the best chance possible of success? How can we be smart about this? How can we repackage our claims to make it palatable to the local jurors? Right? A lot of questions. A lot of questions. And just saying Republican County, case is at risk, it's not that simple. It's never going to be that simple. And I suspect that attorney might be using that overly simplified argument to do one of two things. Try to get you to settle your case for less than you want. I'm not taking a position on that. I have no idea what your claims are. I don't know their strength. I don't know the valuation. But I suspect he might be trying to, he, she, whoever your attorney is, might be trying to scare you with the Republican jurors. And maybe that's a legitimate concern. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Additionally, it could just be an attorney who's telling you why they don't want your case. And to that, I would say, I don't buy that for a second. Good case is good case. Juries matter. Jury selection matters. The whole theme of this video is jury selection matters. But you don't throw out a good case because you live in a tough county. If that was true, there would be no plaintiff side employment attorneys in that county because the cases wouldn't be winnable. They would just go somewhere else where they could win cases. Right? As a plaintiff side employment attorney, I can tell you, if I knew, well, we'll pick a state. What state? Idaho. If I knew that 99.9% of all workplace discrimination cases in Idaho lost, you know what I would do? I would change our firm and I would say, hey, we practice in 49 out of 50 states. We don't bring cases in Idaho. Do I feel great about not helping the good people of Idaho? No, I don't. But I put a lot of money and time and resources into these cases, and I can't afford to lose 99.9% of my cases that I bring in Idaho. Firm wouldn't exist for very long. If we bring a lot of cases in Idaho, we'd rapidly go through a war chest and wouldn't be able probably to keep the firm going very long. So this concept that this attorney's in this county and is a plaintiff side employment attorney and thinks you shouldn't bring cases in the county, I have questions. Why would that attorney be there then? I'm sure it's a lovely county, but this attorney might need to do something different for a living if they don't think that they can bring those cases in that county and win, right? I mean, inherently, the statement is a little suspect. Sus, as the kids say. And listen, this is a long way of saying, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know enough. And I'm a little concerned about the conversation. I will check the comments on this video. If you have follow-up, if you want to provide more specifics, I am happy to have another 15-minute video in which I tell you almost nothing. Listen, I think there's value in me talking around this topic for you and letting you see how I think about it. Not because I'm a genius, because I do this a lot. Lots of repetitions at this specific conversation, right? And that has value. I hope to you. If it did, like, subscribe, comment down below. It helps me to help more people just like you. And remember, almost everybody works and everybody wins. Be smart out there. And I will track the comments on this video. If you have follow-up, I will try to provide you a follow-up video. Tanya, it's been a delight.